my mama lied. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed.
Welcome back, Jackson, Mississippi, and these United States to Make It Make Sense, Jackson. I am your honored host, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab, along with my esteemed co-host, live and in living color, a.k.a. KP, a.k.a. Young Man. I should switch ears on this, KP, because I can't hear you as clearly. So you see, as they say, when you say, Mama, we made it to the big time, even though I'm talking up above, Mama, we made it to the big time. This is our live debut of Make It Make Sense, Jackson. No longer just on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, but we bought our services, as LeBron said when he went to Miami. We bought our services to the esteemed We Believe Digital network, where we hope to bring our audience and to bring more audiences just to continue to talk about the state of our city and to bring forth some very usable information that helps us as a city make some better decisions to turn this curve that we're seeing right now and that we've seen in Jackson for some time. So we just want to say thank you for having us on this platform. Shout out to Socrates. Shout out to Mr. Garrett and We Believe Digital. Shout out to our engineering team, and shout out to my co-host KP. Anything you want to say to the crowd, new and old, young man?
No, I was gonna say, you know how we always talk about we gonna move we are the platform, but we gonna move it somewhere else to get the communication out, regardless of what it is.
That's right.
Like I said, that's one of the highest ways of communications is, you know, in the media or the radio or talking in public, regardless of what it is. You know, we're gonna be there. Like I always say, whether we live, whether we're on the radio, whether we gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, be in front of your house talking to you, protesting someone.
That's right.
But yeah, that's basically more of the fight.
Okay. No, but you turn the mic. Okay. Towards him. Oh, okay. All right. Right there in the middle. How's that? Mic check. So we want to make sure we're bringing you the actual audio crisp. So I love that. But no, KP, I think that's a good point. And what he's talking about is remember things that happen, and we should have. And I'll go ahead and I like to hit our ad followers to make sure folks on, because we spend so much time looking at what's happening and so little time advertising and talking about ourselves. That sometimes, what'd you say?
Because there's so much going on.
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard for us to remember to say, hey, watch us. You get what I mean? We're so focused on the information we're giving you that part sometimes gets a little more difficult, doesn't it, KP? But yeah, I agree with the young man 100%. I mean, we've dealt with issues where folks have openly been resistant to truth coming out, right? And I'm talking about truth that helps you. And if you're new to this broadcast, if you're new to Make It Make Sense, Jackson, what you'll understand is that we're a platform for truth and for our city and for our state. But we don't do gossip. We don't do Hollywood. We don't care about people's personal lives. We care about how their decisions, especially in leadership, affect our city and affect our children and affect our future. And that's why, thankfully, we have, as we always call it, the best audience in radio and podcast in the history, right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in Georgia, Tuscaloosa. I mean, we are humbled to have folks have jumped on and listened to us from California, from everywhere. Oakland, yeah.
Real diverse.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't know that, man. I feel like we all around the world. I mean,
Canada, we had folks jump on to Canada before.
We had people from Nigeria. You know, one of my lift drivers from Nigeria. He said he listened to the show.
Absolutely,
that blew my mind, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't tell me where we at, but you know,
people are hungry for that information.
Yeah, like you told me, it's people in Nigeria that probably feel the same way by a certain demographic in they country. You know,
yes. Go further than what we're talking about was don't always assume when folks try to create division between people of color, especially. Be careful with that because you'll be bothered. Rightfully so. We talk heavily about right here in Jackson, Mississippi, the former Indian Store Owner Association, their presence to the detriment of our city, and how the former councilman Stamps asked them to stop selling things as simple as caffeine-based products that were hurting the kids over a decade ago. And Surinder Singh, who was the then president of the Indian Store Owners Association's response was, if it's legal, we'll sell it. when the city council got together and asked the Indian Store Owners Association to provide more security because too much violence was happening around their stores, they said, we have security. It's called JPD. And the taxpayers' money. So you're talking about people that are making a lot of money draining out of there. But what we have to do is be very careful to realize that when folks do bad one place, they usually do bad everywhere. So folks will be at their homeland doing bad to their people right there, then come over here and duplicate it here. Our first thing I'm gonna do is call back where you come from and find out, hey, everybody likes this? Everybody good with the way he's acting? Because sometimes you'll find out right back there he's just as badly held. You get what I mean? As we look at them. But that's an excellent point, KP. Keep the people together, but
then where you fit in,
yeah. But I mean, I think that what the young man was talking about, if you're new, those that have been with us kind of understand. I like this, but there've been a lot of people that have pushed against us, right? And just because we talk, with records and with receipts, and we talk about how those in control, and that's what we're going to talk about today. How those that are in control of our city, not the gossip, not to get that, those that are in control of our city, how they actually lead us, or are they handling us? And one thing we've discovered on Make It Make Sense Jackson through the last year since we've been on air, our audience, which is growing, the fastest growing audience in the city, and we say that humbly and thankfully, what we found together is that the way that our leaders are leading is not with the majority of Jacksonians in mind. And furthermore, we found out that some of our leaders have a much better resume than they're using to push us forward.
Elaborate what you mean by that.
So Mayor Horn, for example, let's just look at it, and everyone in the city is familiar with this. Let's look at the Blossom Apartments fiasco, where 100 families became homeless, and some thankfully got back on their feet. Some did not, because a landlord did not pay their water bill. Now, our mayor sat on the Housing and Urban Development. He was a chair of that board as a senator. So he also sat on the peer review board. Look this up, people. One thing we're big on, if you're going to watch us, you can turn us off. But if you're going to watch us, get your laptop, get your pen and your paper, verify, validate, inspect what you're expecting. Otherwise, don't cry about what your leader did if you see it right in front of you and you won't just look it up in Google. Or go to Michael Watson, Secretary of State business website, and find out who owns what you're looking at or what you're complaining about. But that's what we have to look at. So you have a mayor that sat on not only as a chair of the HUD, but also sat on the peer review, PEER. Now, what they were an oversight committee for associations like the Mississippi Housing Corporation. Sean Spivey, he's the one that gives out all the money and decide who gets what. With these slumlords like Chapel Ridge, with the work not being done at places like Rebelwood, this is the man that actually doles that money out. And Mayor Horn did not only work with these people, he sat above them. So he understands not only their kinks, he understands their flaws, because what the peer board did was write reviews for the Senate, telling them.
So they had to come to him to verify what they was going to do with the money, and he had to sign it off.
Even bigger, he was the one that watched them do all that. He and the rest of that board, they watched them do all that and then wrote a review on how they did. So he's the actual newspaper for the Senate. He's the journalist that's letting them know these things are being done. And then they decide whether to continue to fund something like HUD to that level or not to. Sean Spivey hands around more money than Mansa Musa. And I'm being facetious, but you got to understand where your leaders sat. Right. So if you have a person that calls himself your family member, I love you and I love your whole family, right? Your child sitting there choking, they just sit there like, oh God, let me pray for him. You find out later they're a medical doctor and a doctor that takes care of children on top of that. Tell me you're going to be okay with that. You know what? It wasn't your problem. But you were a doctor, a pediatrician. You knew exactly how to save that child's life and you didn't. And that's the way we have to start looking at everything that concerns us.
So you know exactly what happened to them apartments.
Absolutely. Yes, these are the relationships that our mayor boasted of when he said you should pick me over Lumumba, pick me over Socrates, pick me Mr. Garrett, pick me over all of these people. These were the reasons he gave, was to get, I have the relationships across the aisle that will make us a better city. Now we're waiting for those relationships to go to work for us, and we're seeing them work against us, humbly speaking, factually speaking. So at a certain point, we've got to ask ourselves, and I think the young man gets right into the gravy, we've got to ask ourselves, who's to blame when the emperor's walking by us with no clothes on? At a certain point, we got to point the finger and say, hey, excuse me, sir, you don't have any clothes on. We see it. And if we're going to lose and have to look at your lewd, nasty body, and I want you to equate that to what we're suffering here in Jackson, watching everybody eat but us, if we've got to look at that, at least let's look at it pointing and saying it is what it is.
Right.
Instead of saying, give him a chance.
My thing about it is, who also was sitting there, I know you said Horn was on the peer review board. I want to know who do you like, it was more than him sitting on that review board, knowing that he was also doing that stuff and didn't do anything about it. And I'm speaking from like a black representative perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot. We got the most black representatives in the country.
It's a collective effort. Absolutely.
So it was definitely more than one.
Yeah.
That's what makes it scary. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole collective of y'all sitting on that review board, not doing nothing about these apartments, or knowing, you know what I'm saying, knowing that they getting the key under the table too. They getting a piece of that deal too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, young man. Sometimes out the mouth of babes, and I'm not saying you're obviously at this point a child, but as somebody that's old enough, right, to be that much older, what we mean by that comment is that sometimes young people say it directly, and you're absolutely correct. At that point, I've got to assume that there's some benefit you're getting from my misery and from our folks not understanding. And I think that lines us right into today's show, which is Jackson at a crossroads. And I wasn't going to use that because there's so many crossroads, so many just sayings, but crime, blight, and control of our water. Those seem to be the three things that as a community, no matter who we talk to, right, no matter where we go in the city, those seem to be the things along age lines, along all lines that folks are worried or concerned about. And I think specifically in our community, we have a much bigger issue with folks watching right now with this current administration, and they're watching a lot of money flow around. And that's the what we position to our callers. Same call-in our rules. So now if you listen to us on the radio station, if you listen to us, you know that we're unique in one way. We take anonymous calls. We take just about any call. We'll take your point. We're not afraid of battling whatever you have to bring with the truth. If what you have is a bigger truth, then you're teaching us something, right? But 601-387-2684. Any questions about what we're saying? One thing we like to do as a platform is we like to speak factually. So we're going to go off of a lot of articles, a lot of things people said out of their mouth, and then together we come together and we say, what does that mean for us as a city? So if you see it a different way, by all means, call us in 601-387-2684 and talk about the point at hand. But we are going to make sure we provide you with information as to what we're talking about. So I think that I think right now a lot of the complaints I hear, KP, in this city, like I told you, when I went down to film and bring a news report about the new luxury loft being built on Meadowbrook and State Street, Gabriel Prado, who's on the mayor's transition team, and he's benefiting very well now from having been on that team. Because there's nothing else he's done from the city, or there's nothing else he's promising to the masses of us with this complex to lift us all up. But he's already.
Mind you, this deal been going on since 2015.
Since 2015.
So this been going on. So they just finally got somebody in the office that was going to finalize it, because the previous mayor wasn't going for that. You see what I'm saying?
That's big. So yeah,
you got to understand how many deals, not just that, how much stuff was going on along with that whole setup that was not being transpired because of the previous mayor. So you know what I'm saying? This is evident gentrification. So you got to understand what else come with it. You know what I'm saying? It was being prevented from happening.
Yeah.
You got to really take a look at it.
And people see it. I promise you, young man, people see it. And I mean, let me tell you something. If you listen, you'll learn that he's a lot easier on our age range. If you're in the 45, 50 age range, 55, 60 age range, the young man is a lot softer often than I am in terms of holding us equally accountable. But to think that folks don't know what people are doing is naive, young man. And they do. And I know you're being nice, but they do. They fully understand, because when we would go around and you ask about people, they'll say, well, that person ain't gonna do
nothing. I said they ain't know.
No, it's just that, no, you didn't. I just think that sometimes folks can take it and run with it as a way of, no, you didn't sugarcoat it. I think that people sometimes can take a route. It's me knowing what my age range does, and I'm kind of jumping on them from the side, because what we like to do is say, well, I didn't know what that brother was doing, or I didn't. But then in another conversation, you won't let that brother near your wife, or you won't let that brother near your finances, or you won't let that brother near your house, or you won't. So they're a cruddy person, but you pretend when you turn the other face or the other cheek when they're doing something wrong, because you don't want to lose that burial plot at the church, or or at the mosque, or you don't want to lose that position, or you don't want your daughter or son not to go to that cotillion. These are the reasons that you do these things. And I know, because I don't do those things and lose some of those opportunities, like dominoes that fall down. And that's not just okay. That's actually good, because it brings forth, just what the young man is saying, that folks are clearly doing what benefits themselves. And right now, you're seeing a economic setup in the city where, so I was outside of Gabriel Prado's new housing luxury lofts on Meadowbrook and State Street, where he's already received $1.5 million tax incentive. So when you talk about creating opportunities for your city, you use tax incentives to create opportunity. I'm inviting you in by giving you one of the biggest incentives I can give you. Lower taxes or some type of benefit from taxes, which is really what hampers businesses the most. And that's why you always hear high taxes, low taxes as part of the political landscape.
Tax incentive is like a backup.
It's like free money. Yeah, 1.5 million. So that's what Gabriel Prado gets for supporting John Horhn during the election, right? And that's fine. It's not even illegal. So don't get mad at someone for saying it. You should be bothered that's not illegal. The only thing illegal in that relationship were to be if John Horhn were to turn around and get a deposit in his account because of it. That would be illegal. But for Gabriel Prado to support him, pay to play is what it looks like to all of us, and pay to play is what it is, unless you're ignorant or you don't want to see the truth. That's pay to play. If I, as Gabriel Prado, can do nothing other than support the mayor, then get invited in as a member of his entrepreneurial transition team, and then I get to create Don Gabriel's gas stations, my little brother, all over the city. Now, mind you, he's got these Don Gabriel gas stations. They're coded in the business website as supermarkets, not a convenience store. And for them to be coded that way, they're supposed to have fresh deli and fresh meats in them. Now, I've been to about 7 or 8 of them myself. I've yet to see any fresh fruit, any fresh deli, any fresh meat in there. One of them. And the gizzards are not fresh meat. There's no way. They're talking about like sliced deli meat and whatnot. They're not talking about chicken wings. And I'm not saying there's a problem with that. That's why we have heartburn now. What I'm saying is you can't be permitted. Your permit says you're there as a grocery store and you're really there as a gas station's convenience store, charging people 30% increase on their beer and water. We've got Black Excellence water sitting right in front of every store. I know the Black Excellence owner. I reached out to him. He said, I just don't remember that purchase. And I would, because I'm always trying to get people. Maybe they purchased it under a Black person's name. I don't know. But he didn't remember selling that water to any entity named Don Gabriel.
Yeah, we made him personal.
Absolutely. He came, he drove a truckload for the water when we were responding from a community standpoint to the water crisis here. And we took a picture with him on the back of the truck. Great brothers. I think there's a few of them. But yeah, so you have, so simply by supporting you, I now get a $1.5 million in tax breaks so I can build Prado Lofts, which you've been planning since 2015, but you were waiting for someone to sign on to this Creek project. It's a whole nother story. And Mayor Lumumba wouldn't do it. So you're waiting for someone to help you there. And then you're waiting for someone to go ahead and back this up where you could build apartments that you knew were pricing out 80% of your city. See, Jackson has a median of what people make. So you knew that this was something the majority of your people can't afford. So you bring it in, and then you give them all of these tax breaks. And then you look at the rest of us. So I'm standing out front of Prado Lofts, and there are some brothers out there in pickup trucks, contractors, and they're saying, they came up to me when they realized that I did the show, and they said, man, you need to put on there that we're not getting any shots at the contracts, right? And I said, well, I mean, that's what you would expect, right? But, and I said some other things like you should have thought about that when you vote, but you understand that was the beginning of a conversation in which we both built together on how to work through it. I would never abandon anyone because of bad decisions. I'm the last person to do that, the decisions I've made in my life. But so now he's getting etched out. So now the Black contractors aren't getting any work, right? And so now as you watch it being built up and you understand what's happening, you understand that this is what it's going to look like for all of the money that's coming in there. And this is what your future looks like if you're a Black contractor. Because who came back in here? And if you take a look, and you've got to look at what's being made, you got to look at the deals that are being made, and you look at all of those hungry dogs that couldn't get business with the Lumumba administration. They're all back in the city. And then it shows us that excuse me, you call them hungry dogs as well. But right here, all of the people here that have been holding up progress, you've got to put it all in the same basket. And these are our brothers a lot of times. I see them and I try to shake their hand. Some do, some don't. And I let them know it's love for you, but you got to do better. There was a time in life where I needed to do better collectively, right? And I still need to do better in ways. If you go home and ask my wife, I'm sure there's a list, right? But the point is, you have, for example, you had Ferris Street. You want some hard concrete examples? You had Ferris Street. So while the last mayor, Lumumba, was in office, you had about 8 years of it just not being developed to the way people wanted to. Now you had the current administration, Gibbs specifically, who was tied up in litigation with Ferris Street, which means that until that happens, and then a gentleman went to jail for stealing money from the city that partnered with him, and he didn't go to jail, or he didn't get accused of it. But the white fella that worked with him almost got locked up or went to jail. But there's no development that can happen while there are lawsuits pending on both sides. But then the image goes out where you got a mayor A that's being charged with a crime, B that has a trash dilemma, C that can't develop Farris Street. It's not just the sharks that are coming in that you see now getting all these contracts. It's not just the Prados and the Babanassis. It's the people that allowed you to think it wasn't what it was, so you'd vote the way you voted. I see when you get that look on your face, boy. Hey, but that's what why you bring. That's what it's your city, and you've got to understand when you're down at these locations. You've got to understand that one person bought up 500,000 square feet of downtown. Indian young man named Babanasi, Bhavanasi, Babanasi. WLBT article. Bought up 500,000 square feet of downtown. He said he's going to build luxury apartments there as well.
My question is, what did y'all know was going to happen before y'all voted? What was their expectations in their mind before they voted for him? Like, what did they think was going to happen? Where was their mind at? What was the comfort zone then?
When Mayor Horn said the statement that he never denied, which is Jackson voters are fickle and uneducated.
But even before that.
No, so
I'm saying before that. Before he even said that, what was their mind at? What did they think?
Before John ran it all over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My mindset was set on that. Well, originally it was going to be the previous mayor that was going to win, and we was going to get hit on that 1% sales tax, and we was going to get a piece of that.
Oh, you're going back to
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Excuse me. But you're saying that the people's mindset was with the 1% sales tax was we're willing to put all into our city and go forward. Yeah. And the young man's going back, and you got to do that when you hit the brake like that. So, I mean, you go back to the 1% sales tax. Rest in peace, Chokwe Lumumba was the mayor at the time when the people agreed on something folks had talked about for some time, which was imposing a 1% sales tax on ourselves, right? And then to use that to fix up the roads and infrastructure, plainly put. And so it came out as an amazing plan. Up till now, it's garnered almost, or if not over, $120 million. Now, one may ask, but why do our roads look like they look? Then this has nothing to do with Lumumba, Yarba, it doesn't have anything to do with any of them, because we increased our own taxes to fix our roads. So every conversation about pothole is twofold, young man. Whoever's screaming it is usually being handled by somebody else and being put in there to spark the flames, because they fully understand that 1% tax is what was supposed to be fixing those. Mm-hmm. And of course, who was in control of the 1% or represented the Black communities, Jackson and others, for the 1% tax that was on the chair of that board? Our current mayor, John Horn. I mean, this is what the young man, I think, says. And if you're new to us, I guess it's different in terms of what information you have. But
as a senator,
absolutely, as a senator, this is what the young man means when he says, well, how did they trick people into believing that Jackson was a dirty old coat that nobody wanted, and that your mayor or mayors were incompetent fools that can never do anything? Well, when you've got someone in your city council sticking their tongue out, and I'm talking about Councilman Stokes, sticking your tongue out at people, saying that everybody smokes dope as the answer to any disagreement he has, well, that's the problem, because that starts to make trivial and makes your whole civic system a joke to the outside public. Now, when you have Grizel, you have Lindsay used to be on there, you had Vernon, you had Foot. When other educated, seasoned council people are on there and they allow that to happen, it becomes a group effort. And it can be people that I love, it can be people I talk to and I go out with. It becomes a seasoned effort. And let me tell you something, we should at least be as tough on our councilmen as we are on our NBA players. Man, listen, if your friend was Kawhi Leonard and he missed the game-winning shot, and you were watching the game, or heaven forbid you on one of these DraftKings sites or something, you telling me when you saw him for drinks that night, you'd be like, oh, Kawhi, what's up, man? It's all right, bro. No, you'd be digging into it. Man, I lost 25 cents on you. That's all you put down on the bet. But your councilman will move through your city, and you won't at least let them know, hey, we've got a real problem. We've got a real problem. So when we come back from this commercial break, what you're going to have to understand is that you can only hold people accountable for what you let them know or what you watch. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a lot of things. The newspaper telling you crime was down, then it was up. Everything that was put in front of you to make you believe it wasn't what it was. Let's hit this commercial break, KP, then we right back at it, young man. Make it make sense.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
As we come back from this commercial break, the topic now is leaderships and handling.
Leadership, leadership versus handling, right?
I thought that was you changed it. I was like, hold on.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's that good coffee, decent coffee. I wouldn't say great. Leadership versus handling, right? And it's something that if you're with us, you know what that is. If you're in a church, this is a question for everybody, right? If you're in a mosque, if you're in a school, if you're in a neighborhood organization of any kind, if you're incarcerated and watching us, anywhere you are where you have to be in a group setting, right? You've got to look and see whether you're looking at leadership or whether you're looking at folks that are handling you, right? We're going to get into it a little more when we talk about the water situation, because that's what we'll land our last 15 minutes on, okay? But when you talk about, we got to talk about in Jackson how we've been handled versus being led, okay? So one of the biggest things that I look at when you look at what people talk about, we talked about blight, we talked about the water, we talked about high crime, right? So you look at high crime, right? And so here you had a situation where we've been told two different things in a matter of, I think, a week at one point, right? So at one point we were told when Chief Wade was exiting, right? And so we don't need to go deeply into that. We know that Chief Wade was pushed out at best, right? Saw that there was a crime about to be committed and said, I don't want to be any part of it. I've been around that scene before, and that's what it felt like to me. So if you've ever been a part of a crime that's about to go down, hop in the car, trade from Boys in the Hood moment, then you fully understand what it feels like when someone gets out of Dodge because a crime is about to happen, right? So that's the way it felt with our Chief Wade. He went to a rehabilitation home, and you're talking about a man that at his age was at the top of his career, and he was well-liked. He was possibly one of the only positions in Jackson that we all agreed upon was doing a good job, right? So he was well-liked at that point, right? So he left after inviting the ACLU in, saying that they need to come watch how he has to enforce the homeless ban that came up. Then went out to the homeless community to tell them how that's the equivalent of someone going out to the thieves and be like, and all boosters come around. Listen, this is what we're about to start doing to catch y'all. It's a crime, and he's explaining because he felt that it was immoral at that point is all that I can think, right? So you hear first that crime is going down, right? So the first thing that we think is what a caller called into our show during the week on the radio and said, well, why can't our leaders, and this is leading versus handling, get the Department of Public Safety to give them a grant so we can give these young people something to do? Right? They have a whole bucket of money. And I'm talking about the Department of Public Safety. They're sitting on a bucket of money for initiatives to help bring crime down. And you're telling me not one of our Black elected leaders in Mississippi ever thought to ask them for a grant to even put some hoops or some pool and nothing in? You're just going to let them sit on all of that money. And as a leader, you never thought, but you, Mayor Horn, our city council, everyone from Benny Thompson all the way down to the city councils in every one of these Black cities, none of you all ever thought to reach out to the Mississippi Department of Public Safety and all that money they had and said, hey, can you give us some money to do something for our children? So the first thing you have to ask yourself, if you want to approach this that way, and if you mess with us, you're going to learn very quickly. We're not asking for handouts. We're not asking for anything but for you to do your job, the basic part of your job. And what we found is that folks think they can come to us and say, hey, I was Black yesterday, These are my qualifications for you voting for me. I'm black today. I just got some Starbucks and I was black. I promise you. I went to the school and I was black. And Lord willing, the sun don't rise. I'm going to be black tomorrow. Vote for me. Not one inkling of a plan on how to get you and your people out of the situation they're in from a political standpoint.
That same comfort, that same comfort zone of him, you know how you can come to the average person and convince him I'm black, vote for me, right? You need to take that same comfort and flip it around and be like, you also black and you can hurt me. I'm also comfortable knowing that you have some type of control over my mind.
Absolutely.
And you can do something.
And you're benefiting.
You are handling. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to flip that feeling when they tell you that.
And maybe you don't understand why your leaders can see your councilman continuously calling meetings in your neighborhood about high crime. You don't understand how that cashes out. I'm cashing out, but you don't understand how. So that's why you don't understand what they're doing. Because if I keep yelling crime, 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 then I get funds for that. Everything that folks are yelling, there's something at the end of that. Because then I get to just police people if that's what I yell.
Yep.
Now I can just police the city more. I don't have to provide anything for you. I don't have to let you know that the Department of Public Safety has buku of money. Mississippi's sitting on $1.5 billion hard cash right now from all the money that this state decided its Negroes didn't need during the pandemic.
And got more coming.
And got more coming. Opioid. They just got almost $500 million. You think they're going to get that to any black folk?
No.
See, our folks are messy. Our folks that are addicted to the Reds, the Blues, our folks that are in Sub 2 or in Addition or in Rebelwood or on Raymond Road, y'all are good enough when it's time to get that opioid money. Then we're going to go and talk to you and put you on camera and find out what your struggles are. How does it feel being in a place where your leaders are eating good in Madison and you ain't got nothing? We're going to find out what your struggles are then for us to get that opioid money.
And find me one person that anybody find me one person that got a piece of that and said something. Oh yeah, they helped us out.
Your man was sitting hugged up with Lynn Fitch. Just like Hillman Frazier.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous. And now Lynn Fitch is currently trying to roll back your voting rights. And they're being very successful. Right now, it looks like we're on the hinge of you having to provide a birth certificate or an identification in order to vote. And some of these black fools in Mississippi literally thought that was an immigration issue. In a place where their ancestors had to count the jelly beans in a jar, they really believed that changing the voting landscape was about immigrants coming in. Your ancestors are rolling over in your grave because you had an education and your silly self believed that all the way to the polls. And now you got to show a birth certificate in every county, Sunflower, Rankin, everywhere. You think it's going to get pretty? I'm going to tell you because you know what they're going to do. Let me see that birth certificate, buddy. You thought it was about them. But Jim, you've known me for 60 years. Yeah, and I know what you're going to vote to. I know just how you're going to vote too. I need that birth certificate, buddy. We friends Monday through Saturday. It's election day. Mississippi has a history of that. Come on. So this is what handling looks like.
Yeah. So I was scrolling through my notes. That's why I was looking at my phone.
I love it.
Don't think I'm just on my phone for no reason.
I know you never are. They're going to get to learn you, but I know you never are.
I was there is 89 million unspent funds in the opioid setting. 89 million. And only 945K was spent.
Well, yeah, it's perfect. This is the Mississippi Shuffle. Mississippi as an entity has never worked or had its own skill set in supporting itself. They went from enslavement of African-American people to legal enslavement of African-American people to they found out when the Freedmen's Bureau came in, oh, well, I can't whip these Negroes into working while they're watching. So I'll take the federal aid coming for them. We'll live off of that because I'm not going to get them a penny. They're slaves. They know how to live with nothing. Yeah. They should be happy with letting them live after enslavement.
Like Horn said, you should be happy with the crimes.
There you go. This is aligning the messages. This is when you be a fool or you be a stand-up person that cares about when your mayor says and then tries to explain both comments away, it's not the insult of it. I don't mind that. You can call me a lot of things. I talk too much. I'd never shut up. I'm good. But it's what's behind that. For the mayor to say they're fickle and uneducated, who do you think he was talking to when he said that? Well, if you look right now at every picture with him, with looking like Curious George with downtown Jackson partners just parading him around. Every time Jeff Good wants to talk about the money they're getting or a new rock and roll festival, they parade John out in front of them. Let's talk about the money. You see him at a new automobile dealership opening up. Then he got our new chief there, Chief Brackley, which was probably the only black thing that came from this administration in terms of progress for us, is a woman that said that I'm going to sit here and hold everybody as a human, no matter whether they're black, white, or whether they're poor, rich, or whether they've done crime or haven't. I'm going to help restore humanity. They made sure they kept her far away from anyone black in Jackson. They let a Republican that used to work for all of the worst Republicans, Nick Lott, I don't care who you are, I don't break you down as a person. On this show, we tell you what the people's background is. So if you found out somebody was a dog catcher and then they take your dog in and turn it in, you can't be like, well, I had no idea. Yes, you did. You knew if you let your dog out, they might do that. That's what they did. So Trent Lott is a Republican that worked for Lott, the big Lott, as well as quite a few others, if you look them up, Republicans that did some very damaging things from a policy standpoint. You want to say, well, why are you talking about him? Because he's hurt us quite well. Yeah. Drew it up, drafted, supported it. So this is who's leading Chief Brackney around town. And at the same time that's happening, what else is happening, young man, with their website?
They closed off the comments on the what's the JPA?
Yeah, on anything related to Chief Brackney.
So we wanted to come in and say something that's really going on in the city that they don't want us to, they got like a blindfold over her. They don't want us to see everything.
They block comments. And Nick Lott is the director of communications, so make it make sense, Jackson. Who do you think blocked those, right? This man got a plan ready for you not to get the information. So now you done blocked all the comments. Let me tell you how foolish they are. And I'm gonna say it, because whenever you put out babies, I got 6 and I take care of a lot more when it comes to a different perspective. When you do something stupid like this, then I got a bigger problem. They blocked it to the point where a baby was missing and couldn't nobody comment. There's a lot of people not about to call Crime Stoppers. They're gonna be like, I just saw that baby over in the Capitol. You blocked it because you're so worried about someone saying, hey, Chief Brackney, I watched all of your podcasts and you said that you think the police departments are so bad they don't need to be reformed. They need to be torn down and built back up. You said that you try to make sure everyone in handcuffs gets treated with decency. I think Jaden Lewis's mother would love to hear somebody like that's in town. But you disrespectful cowards are trying to keep her as far away from people that have felt this pain as you possibly can. You should have never let us on the media, on the podcast. You should have never let us out.
Like we said,
you done lost your mind. We done talked to his mother. I'm sorry, young man. We done talked to his mother. And you telling me that you got the nerve and they done told you. So when Chief Brackney was doing when Chief Brackney was doing her original interview when she came on, they said, well, Chief Brackney, in Charlottesville, you busted a racial ring where they were masochistic, they were racist, they were everything. Just think Capitol, think Goon Squad, but just think Capitol. Well, now we know, this is Jackson, we can talk. We know because we were told this by officers. When Capitol came, they told us, watch out. What JPD officers told us? They hiring all the shooters from Brandon and all the old JPD ones that and the moment got kicked off, they gonna come in blazing. And unfortunately, I'm not saying that with lightness, Miss Lewis and a lot of other people, sister got shot on the couch, sister got shot at a traffic stop just sitting in the car looking straight ahead. We met a young man. This is what you do get with talk show, baby. I'm not a politician. I met a young man. He called me with Capitol there on the phone. I heard them before they asked for license and registration say, if you move, I'll shoot you 58 times. I got a lot of questions about where that came from, and I heard it with my own ears. Come audit me and ask me, did I hear that?
The Jeffrey Walker case, the man
slammed the dude's head on the side of the thing.
I gouged him, knocked his teeth out of his mouth, and he just went to trial.
Chief Brackney, don't believe they're blocking the page for a reason, Chief. I promise you. They blocking the page for a reason. They got you in Madison and in Ridgeland and got you at automobile dealership openings for a reason. And no one broke into that automobile dealership you was at in 6 years. But they got you over there at the automobile dealership. They got you at Bully's restaurant eating some food. That's not a good look. Because you ain't had a chance to talk to your city yet. But guess what? When your mayor ain't been nowhere but West Jackson in 7 months, finally comes to West Jackson with Vernon Hartley touting him around, wanting to act like civil rights activists now. But he done been out to the Rotary Club. Your mayor done talked to every platform possible to let them know your money good here, boss. I told you them Negroes fickle and uneducated. And they'll be happy with the crumbs. They ain't saying nothing, boss.
I'm running out of fingers, T, you know what I'm saying? From Andy Gibson, who you got Grant Callen, Lynn Finch.
These are all people that your mayor is. Grant Callen, I hope you understand who that is. So I hope you understand your city, and we're not coming around talking to you all about it. Redeemer Church, right down on the north side. Grant Callen is one of the leaders of the voucher program that tries to hurt the school public system. Holzman himself said that if it went through the way that he wanted it, we would lose millions within the first year out of the Mississippi public school system. So we done moved to Make It Make Sense Mississippi, which is our parent name now. Heads up, right? So this is what Grant Callen said. John Horn did an interview with him before he ever talked to any of you all. You know how many older people told us they can't get through to Mayor Horn? Chief Willie Owens, the former chief that everybody loved in the city, came on our show and said that not only did the mayor tell him, I'm going to take your advice into context when I move somebody up to fire chief, because usually you move the next person under, he reached way down in the barrel and put who he wanted to put after he told the former chief, I'm going to put someone right behind him. And then he lied, and this is what Chief Willie Owens from 100 Black Men, because we need them other 99 Black men to step up. Chief Willie Owens said that fire truck and that fire department that he said he fixed was fixed under my tenureship. My name's supposed to be on the side of that truck. Hurt that man's feeling because he loves this city so much. And his children, his grandchildren, his offspring won't see a truck with his name on the side because you got a mayor and city council that believe it's okay to lie about your former chief.
that brings the topic back up. You got leaderships versus handlers.
Leadership versus handlers.
That's a handler.
That's a handler. When you have a city council, and I know I speak you all, but I got a lot to say to you. When you have a city council meeting where Ted Hennepin says the entire 100,000 plus city has a culture of not wanting to pay their bills, and you have Gibbs in there, you have Crudup, you have Mayor Horn, you have Grizel, you have Tina, you have help me with the names, Parkinson. Parkinson made a noise like he was choking at least. You have every single one of them up there, right? And not one of them said a word. All of them went to your elected officials, moved to the side and looked down. And let me tell you something else. Just yesterday, the young man and I were down at the courthouse, the federal courthouse, because they had a hearing. Judge Wingate had a hearing about your water and whether you deserved more transparency. There was an intervener team there, and they can't even see the history of your bills. So when you get a $7,000 bill and they want to intervene on your behalf, right now, Jackson Water won't even let them see where that came from. They got to talk to you and just guesstimate it. And guess how many of your elected officials were there? KP, did you run for office? Because you were there. Mr. Smarty Pants, shout out to the community, you were there. There were community members from our show there.
Shout out to Miss Betty, you was there.
Shout out to Miss Betty, you were there, but not one of your elected officials were there. And guess what? This would happen when they don't show up. Guess what the lady that was a city attorney for the city of Jackson said when they said, can you tell us how Jacksonians have been harmed? She said, I can't give you any exact instances. Blossom Apartments, I apologize to you live. I apologize to you. Those parents with babies that were homeless after that, and I know them personally. We worked with Stupa. We worked out there. We went out there. I apologize to you that you got people representing your city. This Caucasian lady sat in front of Judge Wingate and said, well, I can't really tell you how. I can tell you. The young man can tell you. Every one of you can tell you. I got 91-year-old residents who have a one sink and have a $3,000 bill and was told, F you, pay me.
Got babies.
And this is with $800 million of our money.
Tax dollars. I'll take it.
But what do you expect? Your then Senator Horn said they're hollowing out Jackson when they put it before he became mayor. All of the mayoral candidates, all 20 plus agreed, we're going to return Jackson's water system back to the city, right? August, go pull the headlines up. Mayor Horn got this city on the catwalk, shaking his booty, trying to sell it. August. The headline saying Mayor Horn looks for public-private partnership. Who want to go halfsies on Jackson? And then white folk told him, no, sir, boy, we want the whole thing. We don't want halfsies. You must have mistaken it. You thought you could dance with us a little bit and give these Negroes in Jackson something? You didn't understand the plan. We're going to bring in a water authority. And what does Mayor Horn do? Backs the water authority. This is being handled. Hey, go pull the article.
Never have control back over the water.
Yeah, what he said to you, I wish I could do anything different. So a month before you promised on the mayoral candidate, he's playing right in your face. A month before you did this, you said, I'm bringing the water system back. A month later, this is the best deal we can get. Come on, man. I'll do a dance for you. You telling me that don't sound like some crackhead stuff? I'm not even trying to be funny, young man. That don't sound like a crackhead in office? You sitting up there trying to sell it for what you can get. You want to go half on it? You can get half of it. Oh, you get half of it. You don't want half of it? Oh, okay. You want to take 80-20, the water authority? I'll take that 20. I'll take that 20. Let me get that 20. What was the next article after he backed the water authority, young man? It then said that now the Senate met and that you don't even have as much power as we just gave you. Remember? They tweaked it. Google article. A legislator tweaks water authority. Jackson loses even more power. If you ever think I'm sitting up here playing games with your future and your information because I liken it in an analogy to these jokes, you lost your mind. You pull the article up. Your mayor said it. Now pay attention. So Google that. Now he then said that. Then what's the next thing that he says? What this young man just said. I don't think the system's ever coming back. This man done went from saying they're hollowing out Jackson, sounding like Reverend Jesse Jackson, the late Jesse Jackson, to 7 months later saying we never getting our water back. These Negroes are fickle and uneducated, and they better be happy with the crumbs they're getting. Those are all words out of his mouth, so we're going to string them all together. You make it make sense.
You
Jackson.
don't believe it.
So when they handle you, and this is just day one, it's going to get fun. It's going to get interesting. This is day one, and all we're doing is applying these facts. Go ahead, yeah, man. 601, I think they're in shock. 601-387-2684. And you know, a lot of people try to block you off from getting to us. So find a way. We may go outside, like at the radio station, somebody tried to come outside at best and cut the lines because they didn't want y'all to be able to get to us. I don't know if that happened, but the calls were stopped right before Benny Thompson and all the people running went up. Those calls were stopped and you weren't able to get what you wanted to say through. Yeah. It was It was, but yeah, we just have to realize that we're being handled right now, leadership versus handling. We appreciate our elders. We appreciate the value in their expertise, and a lot of what we say comes from them. But you armchair revolutionaries need to stay in that seat. Don't even sit on the armchair. I have brothers that come to me, hey, let's do this, man. Move over, man. Go sit in the back. This is not, if a 15-year-old tell me to get out the car, I get out the car. I'm not necessarily riding the way he's riding. And you did something 30 years ago, that's all good and well. But if you've been sitting watching these older black men do what they've been doing here, man, go and have a seat, brother. It's too late now. We don't even want you to check in the game. Like the coach, go and sit back down, man. You ain't show up to practice enough times. So at that point, you need to go ahead and sit back down. So, right now, well-to-do Negroes are the only ones that have access to our mayors. These are what the public's saying to us. If you just came into the circle, no, we got thousands of folks talking to us. This isn't us, but I'll back him up because I love him, and I think they're telling the truth because too many are saying. What are they saying? I used to be able to call the mayor. Remember when the brother, I'm not going to say his name, that he said, I'm going to call the mayor. Watch what happens. I'm going to call him. He's not going to pick up. I'm going to call his wife. She will. And that's how I get anything through to him.
And guess who picked up?
Guess who picked up? But the well-to-do Negroes, they have access to them. And since you were the only ones with access, I'm talking to you because I know you listen too, and I love you. Just like the other ones I called out, I promise you I love you. And that's not just a statement. It ain't your fault you're well-to-do necessarily. So since you're the ones that have access to our mayor, I need you to apply that pressure to bring somebody, because you're not doing too well now either. Let's just be honest. If you're a black corporation or black business in Jackson right now, you're not doing too well right now either. You're not seeing any of those contracts. We've seen them flow out in Martin trucks and those other trucks going out to Brandon and back out Madison, right? Where our mayor likes to eat and to sit. This is what it's come to. And you've caused this to happen with the multitude of the policies and decisions you've made that hurt every 6 of my children and hurt everybody that lives here, except the few that may live in a little corridor where the churches sit and where they're building more condominiums than you can think of. So a few judges live back there, so you get some benefit. But West Jackson, South Jackson, and the rest of Jackson getting nothing right now.
The majority.
And you had the nerve to cancel the small homes for the homeless. You don't want no one to have nothing. Y'all are vicious. Let me tell you something. I don't even know how these people move through and go to Stamps and go to Iron Horse and go get fish from the fish house. How do they do it? How? So if the homeless people don't have a home, then was there not a homeless problem to begin with? And you were just dropping them people off here. So now that Horn's in office, you didn't call them, you picked them all back up. Maybe there wasn't no problem to begin with. When Pearl got caught on TV, dropping on video camera, dropping homeless people off from the mental institutions in our communities. I talked to them over behind the fountain area. They told me they're taking us to Rankin. And once three community members tell me that, you can't tell me they're that mentally imbalanced and they somehow connected with each other and they're in 3 different parts of Jackson and came up with the story when we see the tall guy tell them they're taking us to Rankin. No, sir. That's what they're doing. It was never a problem. They just wanted the moment to look like he couldn't control anything because he kept saying no to the water, no to closing our schools, no to my airport. John Horn came in and said, yes, yes, yes. I had the yes button, that little red yes button. John Horn came and gave him the yes button. He told him, you ain't even got to call me. Just hit it. Just hit it. You could be in Madison. It works remotely. Just hit it. You want to get that money? I promise you. You want to put up cameras downtown and watch it? You want this CCTV Griselle wouldn't give you? It's real ironic. Assistant Chief Griselle would not hand over that CCTV to Capitol. He gone. This is John Horns Jackson.
You said that one handed over.
Yeah, Griselle said, I'm not giving over the CCTV. When Capitol, we want to see everything. You don't need to have control of it because he knew what they would do with it. Sometimes even your leaders will tell you on the low what's going to happen. He gonna come in my house. See, some of us are smart. They know you can't dance with the devil and then think you ain't gonna pay some of the price. And that's what Jody Owens found out. We want that man. So you think you can run around and take from these dope boys and you could dump on and punch down on the small man and brag about it, get lit up, and then say, I got an alcohol problem. Don't tell anybody what I'm doing. No, sirree, Bob, that's not how it works. They wanted that man. That was the golden boy. NAACP gave him the golden coat. He's a golden problem. He coming up through a dang Kush plan from his daddy. You can say whatever you want about how he handled it versus how his daddy handled it, but you know, one thing he probably wasn't doing was stealing from white people. I mean, from black people, excuse me. That's something he probably wasn't doing. If you want to say anything else, well, his friend, I'll say all that. He probably wasn't stealing from you. Mother, beautiful Nubia that passed away, Father Shokra, I don't think that's what grows out of that. Sister Rukia, I don't think, you can have a lot of complaints, but I don't think anyone in this city really believes that's what they was doing. That's why you so dumb and ignorant, and now your little coward tail is sitting there hurting for it. Because you sit there and let that baby, like y'all letting him get dragged, and you 60, 70 years old. Y'all letting that baby get dragged Lynch style in Oxford. They're trying to move the trial because they know good and dang well that they can't put him with nothing but a dirty cokehead and Jody Owens that was an attorney. Since you want to put our mayor into this and you want to get him dragged in, everybody in every tape recording saying, you know that boy ain't gonna take no money. Why Jody do that to him? Let me tell you what the streets are saying. That's what the streets are saying. Now, you call me 601-387-2684 and say, Tark, you don't know what you're talking about. Because I don't block any calls. I take them anonymously with pillows over them. I don't need to know who you are. So you got this man that done, Jody's silly enough to go reckless, not realizing that they've been watching this man, Mayor Lumumba, before he was even a mayor. They was watching his daddy. So you've been watching this whole family. Let's talk real facts. You've been watching, the most you can come up with is he's holding up a piece of paper and he called somebody about a deadline. That's what you got out for 8 years of trying? And some of you silly ones gonna look to the left while they try to drag him to Oxford. May God do the same to your child. That's my prayer.
Trying to legal.
Tarek Abdul Tawwab. I ain't gonna put that on my young man. May God do the same to your child one day.
Come on, young man.
I know.
Man don't care about it.
You know us older people, we try to blaze out. I live. You know what I mean? You got a lot of time left. You're gonna do what you want, and I understand what you'll do to me when I start saying these things. And that's on me. Yeah, he'll take it, but I'm saying it. This is what you did. You got waste management. We talking about there's a problem between waste management and trash. We got a trash debacle. No one speaks up, cowards, and says waste management is run by people that build private prisons and old mobsters. And at Richard's disposal, if nothing else, is run by a black man. Him and his wife do put 2 black kids in private schools every year, clean up the community every year, say what you want. I don't care if they was friends or not, and I don't know none of that. Why would you have a problem, or why would you want that money with a mobster that builds private prisons and lobbies to put your children in jail? Well, because Mr. Gibbs didn't discuss with y'all the fact that he got trucks. Mr. Stokes didn't discuss with y'all the fact there may be something lucrative there. As they beat everything back, why wouldn't they just give you a cheaper deal? You got to wake up, Jackson. You got to be okay with your preacher not patting you on your back. When Crudup, who's in there now, gets all that money in the West Jackson and the rest of us don't see it and they don't even see it, you got to be able to ask questions. And I'm not saying anything anyone is doing is illegal, but it's wrong. And I'm the type of person, okay, not having a home church. You better get used to it. You better get used to it. Because y'all are dying in these homes, whether it's a gang, a church, a mosque, a club organization, you're not eating. Tupac Shakur said a famous line as we land here. He said, memories of the past, giving up cash to the leaders, knowing damn well they're not going to feed us. That's what we're doing in Jackson right now with Mayor Horn and this full city board, full city council. The best they've ever done is abstained. That's not good enough. Abstaining is simply a polite way of saying I agree.
Oh, no, I'm one up here. That's a politely way of saying, nigga, I'm scared.
Whoo! They shut down 17 schools and tell our babies, Mayor Horn and the city council beg businesses, white businesses, to hire our children as young as 14. What you think gonna happen with that? And you sitting there thinking that's a good plan. What do you think's gonna happen? You think the young gangbanger's gonna go work for $9 an hour, you dummy? The boy watching his mother struggle gonna say, you know what, since you shut down the school I was in anyways, now I gotta go to school with people I don't like know how. You shut down 17 schools, I don't like these, you know what's over here anyways. Let me just go and get this job during the day and support my mom and stop all this heartache. You were trying to make sure you bring us back to Reconstruction. Your labor problem about to be solved with our babies. You're gonna teach them white folk in Rankin County how to fix engines on planes. You're gonna teach our babies how to do the cleanup jobs that you were supposed to be doing anyways. So you done hired Kathy Northington as your chief. She just came from Mississippi Economic Council. We a show for everyone on every level. I'll let none of you get away. You've hired her, and who was Mississippi Economic Council's baby, right? Accelerate Mississippi, with Governor Tate sitting right on the top of it. And that's who John Horn just begged to take our babies and put them to work at 14. While Northside Redeemer Church, you got a black woman, Candace Robbins, from JSU, who sits on the Mississippi Charter Authorization Board at Redeemer Church, where Grant Callen, Grant Callen that leads the voucher deal, where Grant Callen is a ruling elder. They shut down Chastain, the only school with a parent program, and who buys it? Make it make sense. Redeemer Church and Grant Callen, with Candace sitting quiet through every meeting. Get used to us, We Believe Digital. We're going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place, same truth, same facts. For my co-host and myself, Tarek Abdul Tawwab, welcome to Make It Make Sense, Jackson. Welcome to the world, and we'll be back tomorrow with the same information. We love you, Jackson. Keep making it make sense. We out.